ये टेक्निकल देख रहा है अच्छा लाइक कमर्शियल कोड के टेक्निकल ये आज तुम लेके जाना ठीक है
Probably I need it more than you.
I need it more. There could be people who do not know you.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात कर रहा हूँ, ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात कर रहा हूँ।
जाना पड़ रहा है, वो क्लैश कर रहा है। मेरे से टाइम मिल गया था जब बात होती मेरे साथ। Hello, ji, how are you? Good morning. Namaskar.
God.
I'm trying, but it's not easy.
Doing very well.
It's not easy. It's very,
You're succeeding in everything that you
we'll succeed only if India decides to stay the course and get to its destination somehow and feels more and more that it's not worth it. Hey, India. You're right, isn't it? Absolutely. Immediately. Either you don't say anything at all. It was still about the legal system, it was about industry, business. Really, I mean, it's incredible. Corporate ignorance in government about different parts of government. What is
Humbly welcome you to the launch of Corporate Knowledge Foundation.
Before we go on any further with the proceedings, we would like to tell about today's program and speak about the Corporate Knowledge Foundation
Corporate Knowledge Foundation or the
and awareness programs as an effort to help the society.
now request our Chief Guest, Sri Salman Khurshid, Honorable Union Minister for Law and Justice, to honor us by his presence on the stage.
Member of Parliament to honor us with his presence on this stage.
Finally, I would like to call on stage Sri Anurag Goyalji, Member of Compensation Commission of India and former Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Today we have Sri Salman Khurshid Ji as our chief guest. Sri Salman Khurshid Ji is a vibrant statesman who has invested his life into the enhancement and dissemination of knowledge and learning.
Sri Sandeep Dixit Ji, our guest of honor today, is an eminent
Our other guest of honor is an individual who has brought a rich experience of both knowledge and practice in corporate governance and competition regulations and has been the brain behind the setting up of the IICA. I would request Mr. G.P. Madan to welcome.
Now I would please request Mr. G.P. Madan to tell us about
of knowledge, dissemination of knowledge, updation of knowledge. We would also strive to do some service for the community, for investors, for consumers, for their awareness and education programs. As the vision of Corporate Knowledge Foundation states, which is very much written here on the back, that to be the inimitable knowledge companion of professionals and corporate world. So that is our mission. And then the mission of Corporate Knowledge Foundation is to undertake and encourage research in the professional arena, disseminate knowledge, and develop efficient and responsible professionals and corporate entities with enriched skills and higher caliber, thus carving the best of human assets for well-governed economic growth. So the objective is to have the best of corporate governance policies, the best of corporate social responsibility statement amongst the corporates. The details about the mission as well as the roadmap of Corporate Knowledge Foundation will be narrated by my another founder member and the main brain behind the Corporate Knowledge Foundation, Mr. Pawan Kumar Vijay. Friends, I come to the logo which we have designed for Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Lot of brain, lot of professionals, lot of knowledge people, they have really contributed and conceptualized this logo. If I put it in the terms of a poem, it's the road ahead needs a focus at, with these twists and turns, we all must learn. The deep down inside is where the knowledge resides. That is the logo of Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Friends, the color scheme of this logo, Corporate Knowledge Foundation, the orange and blue. The orange is symbol of sun, which is the source of all energy and knowledge, while blue conveys trust, dependability, confidence, determination, all of which are vital traits that are crucial for survival and success in the corporate world. The alphabets which are used here, CKF, the K in the shape of an arrow signifies knowledge. The sharp pointed arrow captures the essence of focus, agility and determination. And the curves on the alphabet C and F signify adaptability and sharpness. The inward facing arrow symbolizes the wisdom that true knowledge resides deep within us. Corporate Knowledge Foundation, the tagline says, the knowledge companion. Why we use the word is companion? What is the meaning of companion? Companion means a person who is always with you in all your ups and downs. So that is the objective of the Corporate Knowledge Foundation, to be with the corporate, to be with the professionals throughout their corporate journey. So that is the logo of Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Friends, before I go further, because one of our guests of honor, Mr. Sandeep Dikshit, has to leave early because of prior commitment. So I would come to the introduction of Guiding Force later on. Before that, may I request all the dignitaries sitting on the dais, Honorable Minister, Shri Salman Khurshid ji, Mr. Sandeep Dikshit, Shri Anurag Goyal ji, the members of the Guiding Force and the members of the founder members to please come on the dais and light the lamp as a launch of this particular organization, Society Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Thank you, sir. Now, may I now request Sri Sandeep Dikshit ji to please say a few words.
Thank you for calling me early. Most respected Salman Saab, Anurag Goyal ji, Madan Saab, other senior dignitaries on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, the reason I needed to go a little early was that when Madan Saab had met me and I said yes to the program, I didn't realize that today is Valmiki Jayanti, and in our constituency, that's a tremendously important occasion. And while for Salman ji, the entire nation is his constituency, I'm still limited to my little geographic area, and I need to serve them first and foremost. Therefore, I'll take your permission and leave a little early. Let me, at the outset, congratulate all the people who started the Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Extremely impressive with what you defined in your short introductory speech in the beginning. I'll just mention a couple of points, and some of them arise from what I've been hearing Salmanji speaking in the last few days, which have come out in the newspapers. I know that what is often reported in the newspapers may not be true to what you've said, but at least shows how people interpret what Salmanji said. As far as most of us in politics is concerned, we are currently, as we have been facing in the past many years, there is a serious issue of a trust deficit that we face in our profession, if you call it a profession. There's an issue of many of us, at least our leaders, seriously thinking of how this activity or this role or this sphere could rebuild some of the linkages in terms of the image issue, in terms of how we are perceived. But that's an issue I think all of us need to grapple with. And since politics is not just the purview of people in political parties and active, therefore, I think larger leadership of society needs to come there and do something about this very critical field. But the other area in which all of you are involved, which is the area of corporate life, there is also some element of a trust deficit that is somewhere around. Salmanji made a very critical point a few days ago, in which when he said that if you continue to distrust private enterprise, and if you continue to distrust private investment in private business, while it reflects a particular myopic point of view that unfortunately a lot of Indians seem to have it, somewhere in our homegrown beliefs and something that we've grown up with, it's something that in the longer run harms all of us. And Madanji, if there's anything that the foundation could take up as a priority activity, I think it would also be to work seriously, towards defining what are the positive roles of private enterprise, what are the positive roles of business, what are the positive roles of, as Salmanji said the other day, the line where private enterprise, law, social welfare, public asset management, public funding, and issues of finances actually intermix, and to clarify much more to our public that much of this that happens actually in a healthy environment, and not necessarily is it a dark area where all that the private enterprise wants to do is to collide with government and reap off benefits, much to the detriment of most of Indians. And it's a kind of a very strange feeling that most of us have. I've grown up with that. I've grown up in an environment where the words Tata and Birla were actually meaning those who ripped off Indian society. I still remember that there were these 4 words used to always be told that Neta, Afsar, Brahman, Baniya. ये 4 हैं जो शोषण करते हैं समाज का. नेता उसमें सबसे पहले था, उसके बाद ब्राह्मण था, जो एक सामाजिक परिप्रेक्ष्य में शोषणकर्ताओं का एक शिरोमणि माना जाता था, और बनिया उसमें जो ट्रेडिंग या उसकी कम्युनिटी मानी जाती थी. लेकिन आज जिस तरीके से समाज प्रगतिशील बना है, उनमें कई ऐसी परिभाषाएं हैं जो बदली हैं. हमने खुद अपने रूप में देखा है कि बिजनेस या उद्योग या ट्रेड, इसको जिस तरीके से पहले हम देखते थे और जिस तरीके से कम हमारे अंदर में जो धारणाएं थी, वो धारणाएं बदली. आज हम लोगों ने शायद पहले, आज से 20 से 25 साल पहले या 30 साल पहले, जब हम आप जैसे संगठनों को देखा करते थे, चाहे वो CII हो, चाहे वो एसोचैम हो, चाहे वो फिक्की जैसी संस्थाएं हो, तो उसको ज्यादातर लेजों और लॉबी की संस्थाओं के रूप में देखा जाता था. जहां हम लोगों की ये धारणा थी कि साहब आप लोगों का एक ही काम होता है, अपने टैक्स कम कराना, अपने कॉम्पिटिटर्स के टैक्स बढ़ाना. और कुछ हमारी अग्रणी प्राइवेट संस्थाएं थी जो इस भावनाओं पे और ज्यादा अपने कार्यकलापों से एक बल देती थी और एक धारणा बनती थी. लेकिन वो बदली है. सरकार ने देखा है, समाज ने देखा है कि जब आप पर किए हुए अननेसेसरी या गैर जरूरी अंकुश हटाए गए हैं, तो आपके समाज ने, आपके बीच के लोगों ने, जो प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, जो संस्थाओं को, संगठनों को चलाते हैं, आप जैसे प्रोफेशनल जो संगठनों को गति देते हैं और इसकी कोशिश करते हैं कि वो समाज के दायरे में, समाज के नीति नियमों के अंदर अपने कार्यकलापों को करें, तो आपने आगे बढ़कर एक चीज सिद्ध की है कि दुनिया के बेहतरीन राष्ट्रों के प्राइवेट एंटरप्राइज के बराबर आप खड़े हो सकते हैं और कंधे से कंधे लगाकर आप उनको कंपटीशन भी दे सकते हैं और कहीं कहीं उनसे आगे भी बढ़ सकते हैं। और आज जहां एक समय में हमारे राष्ट्र के नेताओं ने इस देश का नाम दुनिया में फैलाया था, आज बिजनेस के नेताओं ने और आपकी फील्ड के नेताओं ने इस देश के नाम को दुनिया में आगे बढ़ाया। और ये मेरे ख्याल से साधुवाद देने की बात है आपके पूरे सेक्टर को। उसमें आपके प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, उसमें आपके फाइनेंस के लोग हैं, लेकिन इसमें अपने देश में अभी भी कुछ ऐसी धारणाएं बनती हैं। कभी कभी मैं इस बात को बड़े अचरज से देखता हूं कि जहां एक तरफ व्यक्तिगत रूप से धन का सृजन करना, धन का उत्पादन करना, धन की उत्पत्ति करना और धन का नियोजन करना एक समय में तो देश के लिए बहुत ही अनिवार्य माना जाता है, लेकिन व्यक्तिगत रूप से जब कोई व्यक्ति या संगठन उसको करता है तो फिर उसको हम अपनी व्यक्तिगत उसमें दूसरी रूप में देखते हैं। तो वहां एक कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर, एक इमेज बिल्डिंग मेजर भी बहुत आवश्यक है। आज हम पुराने समाजवादी सोच विचार में नहीं डूबे हुए हैं। देश ने अपनी नीतियों द्वारा, बार बार अपने वोट द्वारा और पार्टियों के आते हुए कार्यक्रमों द्वारा ये दिखाया है कि आर्थिक रूप से हम एक नए देश की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। आज की युवा पीढ़ी भी उस तरफ ज्यादा देख रही है, लेकिन कुछ ऐसी धारणाएं हैं जो उसको पीछे रोकती हैं। इसमें मुझे मालूम है सलमान जी, जो पिछले 2 दिनों में आपने बात कही है वो बहुत हिम्मत के साथ आपने कही है, क्योंकि इस्टेब्लिश्ड जो प्रेजुडिसेस हैं हमारे समाज में उसके खिलाफ आपका ये वक्तव्य जो है कुछ जगहों पे तो उन लोगों को भी झंझोलेगा जो सीप्ड हैं इस तरह की सोच में, और उनका नजरिया हो सकता है उससे कुछ बदले। लेकिन दूसरी तरफ ये इस बात को भी दर्शाता है कि हमारे शीर्षस्थ स्तर पर, चाहे पार्टी में हो चाहे सरकार पे हो, अब ये सोच आई है और धीरे धीरे ये सोच और आगे बढ़ रही है कि किस तरीके से हमारे संगठित सरकार जो है प्राइवेट एंटरप्राइज को, प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लोगों को, प्राइवेट सेक्टर के अंदर व्यवसायिक लोगों को आज एक दूसरे नजरिए से देख रही है, और ये बहुत ही तरीके से स्वागत योग्य कदम है। मैं आशा करता हूं कि कॉर्पोरेट नॉलेज फाउंडेशन है जिसकी आपने बड़े अच्छे तरीके से अपने लोगों का भी उसमें परिभाषा दी। मैं कभी अलग से आपसे पूछूंगा कि लोगो बनने के बाद आपने ये परिभाषा दी, ये परिभाषा से आपने लोगो बनाया, लेकिन कभी कभी क्रिएटिव लोगों की एक अपनी एक जादूगरी होती है, उसको भी देखने की आवश्यकता होती है। लेकिन उसमें ये जरूर है कि जब वो जादूगरी वास्तविकता से मिलती है तो कभी कभी वो संस्था की आने वाले स्वरूप को भी दर्शाती है। और मुझे आशा है कि जिस तरीके से 2-3 मिनट में आपने अपनी संस्था के आने वाले उद्देश्यों को, उपलब्धियों को बताया, उसमें आप खरे उतरेंगे। आप में से जो 2-4 लोगों को, मैं इन लोगों को कैसे जानता हूं वो मैं यहाँ बता नहीं सकता हूं, और कि मदान जी को, उनके मित्रों को, कुछ लोगों को मैं प्रोफेशनली जानता हूं, कुछ लोगों को मेरी एक जिंदगी का एक अलग पहलू है, उसमें मैं इन लोगों से मिला था जो एक सांस्कृतिक पहलू है, और वहाँ इन्होंने मुझे बुलाया तो मैं इनको ना भी नहीं कर पाया। लेकिन मदान जी, मैं एक और चीज़ आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, आपने जिस तरीके से मुझे न्योता दिया उसमें भी ना कर पाता था। अगर आप मुझसे कहते कि सलमान जी इस मीटिंग में आ रहे हैं तो भी मैं ना नहीं कर पाता। सलमान जी कई रूप में मेरे गुरु, तो एंड आई हैव नो हेजिटेशन इन सेइंग दैट ही इज समबडी आई एडमायर अ लॉट, ही इज समबडी हु हैज इंस्पायर्ड मी, and I have seen a facet of his life in the last 2 months, especially when we were grappling with a particularly what should I say, problematic situation that was gripping all of us. I saw him working within government, outside of government, as a I won't say agent, but as a representative of government and as a representative of the entire political class. And I must say that in him I found a leader, and I really thank him for having associated himself, given me time to associate with him and learn so much from him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I know the reason why we're known for your free thoughts. Friend Shri Sandeep Dixit ji was born on 15th of August, the Independence Day of the country. And his real interests, besides politics and social service, are the really rural livelihood, poverty, employment and natural resource management. And if we come to the cultural side, his interests are in folk dances and Hindustani classical music. He has really worked on rural development and human development. I once again, sir, thank you very much, and I, on behalf of all of you, give a big round of applause, and I request my another friend, my co-founder, Mr. R.K. Agarwal, to please present the memento to Shri Sandeep Dixit. his name and logo and everything, the concept of his organization. Thank you. Friends, now it's the turn of to introduce very briefly the members of the guiding force who have really been a force behind all of us, who are there to guide us, to advise us how to achieve our vision, how to achieve our mission. Some of the guiding force members are really present here. I would like to brief all of them who are not there also, and those who are here, I would like my friend Mr. Pavan Vijay to please welcome them one by one. Friends, I would like to read the names in alphabetical order. Mr. Alok Tandon, he is a chartered accountant by qualification. He is managing director of Systema Shyam Teleservices Limited, and he has been one of the participants in the telecom revolution in India. I am really thankful to him on behalf of the founders of Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Mr. Amit Sareen, CEO of Anantraj Group of Industries. He is not only interested in real estate sector, but he has already shown his interest in setting up IT parks, SEZs, hospitality, and creating the world-class infrastructure in the country, particularly in Delhi and NCR region. I welcome him also. Mr. Amarjit Chopra, all of you know his name. He is a practicing chartered accountant, has been the past president of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and he is really a role model for the chartered accountants and CA students. Mr. Anupam Malik, the Joint Labour Commissioner, Haryana government. He has been with this ministry in the Haryana government for last more than 25 years. And friends, in the Labour department, in any company, whenever there has been a need, whenever there is a problem which could not be solved by others, Mr. Anupam Malik was deputed there. Even recently when there was a problem in Maruti, Mr. Anupam Malik was there to solve those labour problems. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. Mr. B.D. Naran, the former Chairman and Managing Director of Oriental Bank of Commerce, recipient of Business Standard Banker of the Year Award for the year 2004. He is really a banker par excellence and one of the very few true independent directors in this country, true follower of corporate governance. I thank him also on behalf of the founders. Dr. Girish Ahuja doesn't need any introduction. He is very much present here. Chartered accountant and eminent tax expert. To me, he is my alumni also from Shri Ram College of Commerce. To me, he is my guru also. When I was a student, he was my teacher in the college. He is one of the most sought after speakers on income tax, particularly post-budget. Whenever the budget comes, his booking starts a month before. And in a day, he addresses sometimes 6 to 7 lectures or gatherings also. He runs around, he roams around here and there during those very hectic schedule. Though he is by profession, he is a professor, he was just retired from Shri Ram College of Commerce, besides he is an industrialist also. And I don't think in India there is any auditorium where even a single seat can remain vacant if he is delivering any lecture on income tax. So that is a good thing. Dr. K. N. Chaturvedi, the former Lord Secretary, another academician and a wonderful professional. I thank him also. Shri K. L. Chukji, very much present here with us. Former Chairman of ITC Limited, has been honored with title of Chairman Emeritus of ITC. He has been member of Board of Governors of IIM Bangalore, a management consultant. He has interest in renewable energy and education, and another great follower of corporate governance and CSR practices. Mr. P. N. Vijay, a renowned name. Every day you see him on any of the financial channels, TV channels. You find his photograph and articles in newspapers, in magazines. He is an ex-banker and merchant banker, a financial wizard, an expert on capital market, has been director on various listed and unlisted companies, and I said a regular face in the financial and capital market. He runs his portfolio consultancy and management business also. Ms. Preeti Malhotra, not here today, she has gone abroad. The Group President of Corporate Affairs of Spice Group of Companies, and she has to her distinction to be the only female to be the President of amongst all the 3 national professional bodies. She has been a member of J.J. Irani Committee also, on the basis of the recommendation of which the new companies bill has been drafted and is likely to be placed before the Parliament soon. Shri Prithvi Haldia, present here with us, one-man army. That is, I think, the nomenclature which suits him, fits him. Founder of Prime Database, the only database on capital market in India. Nobody has dared to compete with him. What to talk about competing, nobody dared to starting the business which he is doing. And he is one of the most fundamental, the investor protection activist also. If you see any of the committees of any stock exchange or the regulator or Security and Exchange Board of India, Mr. Prithvi Haldia's name will appear there. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Mr. Shashi Shekhar, Chief Editor. Sir, Shashi Shekhar ji, please आगे आएं. Chief Editor, हिंदुस्तान हिंदी न्यूज़पेपर के. इनकी लीडरशिप में हिंदुस्तान न्यूज़पेपर ने 1 साल के अंदर 1 करोड़ की लीडरशिप को क्रॉस किया. 1 साल के अंदर. That's the distinction, Mr. Shashi Shekhar ji. He has more than 30 years of experience in media industry, including print and electronic media. Dr. S.P. Naran used to grow leaps and bounds. Credit, number of achievements. He has got one of the largest practicing CA firm in the state of Rajasthan and past president of Institute of Communication of India, has been president of CLB Bar Association, a wonderful orator and always ready to help the professionals. I thank him for being with us. Shri Vinod Halji. Shri Vinod Halji, former chairman of Competition Commission of India, of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. He has undergone various projects under the leadership MCA21, Serious Fraud Investigation Office, Corporate Governance, New Insolvency Laws. I, on behalf of founder, thank him also for being a member of the guiding force. Shri S. Talwarji. He is having his own financial and tax consulting firm. He is an absolute seasoned professional. Thank you, sir, for attending India. I request Mr. Hipendra Mehta to come forward and present a bouquet to Mr. Nisar Ahmed. I have been told we are short of one bouquet. No issue, we can exchange the bouquet later on, sir. No issue. So, but we have to welcome you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I request, now the time comes that we should, and Mr. R.K. Agarwal to please coordinate the same. Now I request our guest of honor, Shri Anurag Goyal ji, to please release the brochure. For honoring us. So I request Mr. Pavan Vijay to please come on the dais and present the Mission Corporate Knowledge Foundation and Road Ahead of Corporate Knowledge Foundation.
For those who need. In this process, it is not just knowledge, but we want to create a growth and development for the society. If you see the CKF mantra, Jnanam Dhanam Sarve Dhanam Pradhanam Vaya Krate Vardhat Nrityam. नॉलेज इज सुप्रीम. जितना खर्च करोगे उतना बढ़ता जाएगा. एक ऐसी कमोडिटी वर्ल्ड में नॉलेज है, जितना खर्च करोगे उतनी बढ़ेगी. इफ यू सी अवर मिशन, इन दिस मिशन वी हैव नॉट ओनली टेकन ओनली द डिसेमिनेशन ऑफ नॉलेज बट रिसर्च, एंड वी वांट टू क्रिएट ए efficient and responsible professional and corporate world where the skill can enhance and they can work better for the society. That is the main mission of the CKF. Then we have our endeavor that we want to do certain things. We want to do for the societal development of knowledge dissemination, skill development, critical evaluation of legal framework, and strengthening global competitiveness. And our roadmap is that we want to first share the knowledge. And knowledge we want to enlighten a ray of knowledge by effecting disseminating quality knowledge events. We want to create a skill development and navigating efforts and create a tailor-made knowledge program for investors, consumer, directors, because there are so many independent directors in the company and they are not aware that what are their problems. I am also on the board of some of the companies and I know what are the problems of independent directors. Professionals, teachers, government officials, and political and social leaders. When 10 years back, I was giving a lecture on capital market to Marxist MPs. Then I realized that there is a need to educate this sector also, because they are expert in certain area, but what we have done, we can create. So we want to create a bridge between these people. We want to create a skill development program by launching a residential university type thing where we can develop our skill in various aspects which we require for our growth. We have a research focus, but we want to do research on practical aspects. We want to do critical analysis of legal, political, economic and social issues and how the CSR can help the society, how the corporate governance can add value to the company, how the Naxalite movement is affecting the corporate growth and how we can take care of this part. We will use the IT to the fullest because the one aim which we have discussed, that how to bring seminar on the desktop, that is one target which we want to create. We will use the social media, we will create the e-library for the benefit of the professionals and corporate and other people. We want to create a focus on legal framework. Now what is happening? Every department is making some law. So what we want to create, we want to identify the laws. We want to create what are the pros and cons of the new laws in pipeline, so we can suggest the government or the regulatory body, because we all professionals are working, but we have an idea, but we want to compile the idea. So we will use the IT tool for this purpose. And we can create comparison of professional legal framework with the global parameters. Recently we have done this exercise, how to make a takeover law one of the best in the world. And we collected all the information of over 36,000 users of takeovercode.com. And even a small suggestion, and it has come out some 70 and 80 pages document to the city, and they are implementing. We will facilitate national and international tie-ups with the investor organization, chambers, council, statutory bodies and corporate, and we want to encourage more and more work for the society. Friends, at last, thousands candle can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened because the other light has already done. This is Lord Buddha has said, and this is the aim of CKF, that how we can jyot se jyot jalate raho aur aage badhte raho. This is the main target of Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Pawan, for your wonderful words. Friends, now I would like to invite Shri Anurag Goyalji, the guest of honor for the day. Shri Anurag Goyalji is a person who really conceptualized the idea of Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs when he was Secretary Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs is a platform for convergence between industry, the government, and for regulation of professionals, investors, and other stakeholders. Sir, I still have this document which was brought out by you, and sir, I have no hesitation in confessing that this is the document which really provoked us to form this Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Thank you very much, sir. Friends, I would like to introduce Mr. Anurag Goyal in one. I have one to remember, and I noted that also when in the post-Satyam issue, one question was raised to Shri Anurag Goyalji, that do you think the Satyam will ever recover from this scam? What was his answer? I have noted down that answer. The answer was that I have no doubt that it will recover. The strategy is to stay focused, a clear roadmap is in place. In the process of achieving this goal, we hope to create a new global model for government, corporate and stakeholder partnership for managing the aftermath of such scams. So that is the vision of our Honorable Guest of Honor, Shri Anurag Goyalji. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Now I request you to please share your thoughts and give your words of wisdom. Thank you.
Shri Salman Khurshid ji, Mr. Madan, Dr. Agarwal, all the distinguished people I see sitting in front of me, ladies and gentlemen, I am truly delighted to be here. And notwithstanding what has been said, I totally disclaim any such vision and laurels that were said. But I would say one thing, that we all here are having a chief guest, a person with whom I had the honor to work and the privilege to work, and who is a true visionary. I find it very appropriate that he is the chief guest for this function. I still think of him more as a minister with whom I spent about 4 or 5 months. And from day one could see the difference in his thinking and his vision. And today, of course, the entire country is benefiting from his vision and his charismatic personality. Why I said this was that even in the context of IIC, the very first time that I briefed him on his taking over, that was one of the things he immediately picked up. He said, this is something we are going to take forward. Even on the model of Satyam that is mentioned, he said, yes, this is something we should take forward. And after having appreciated his secretary, then over the next few weeks he unfolded a vision which was far more holistic and far more comprehensive. Why I am mentioning this is not in a political context, not in a governance context alone. I am mentioning it in the context of the purpose of this foundation. Because in this foundation, knowledge is the key. I personally believe that today, much of the problems that we have arise from lack of knowledge in one shape or the other. Now, when I talk knowledge like this, it involves not only knowledge in a technical sense, but also information, data, and much more so, understanding each other and each other's perspective. As far as I can see, creating partnership and dialogue is one of the modalities that this foundation has thought of. And I think that is extremely critical. The Honorable Minister was remarking just before we started the function that it is amazing the kind of ignorance you can have even in critical cases. I do not want to mention the context in which he said that. The point is, this ignorance was purely out of lack of dialogue and partnership. So I think I would compliment and congratulate the foundation, the CKF, and also Mr. Madan, Mr. Agarwal, and I think the driving force of Mr. Pavan Vijay, who have thought of this thing. I can only say that this is something which needs to be done with great energy, with great passion, with great commitment, and with a lot of people. As Member Competition Commission of India, I can only assure the foundation and its guiding force that I am available personally anytime for any kind of help that I can give. And from the Competition Commission's point of view, I think that is an area, competition regulation is an area which is very little unknown and understood today. But this is an area over the next few years is going to come in a very, very huge way because it touches every life almost. It is amazing, it is absolutely truly amazing when you go into details of what proper competition regulation can do. That it will touch almost like that advertisement touches every life. I think it can, should touch every life. And it is in this that I would offer to the CKF that you would be happy to help their efforts in disseminating knowledge about competition too. I would like to, not to stand between you and hearing the minister, I'm also very keen to hear him on a wide variety of subjects which I hope he will cover, including the foundation and the issue of knowledge. I'd only like to conclude by thanking the foundation for inviting me here and giving me an opportunity to spend some time with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your best wishes and your blessings. Friends, now it's my honor to invite our chief guest of the day, Sri Salman Khurshid ji, a lawyer, a writer, a renowned legal thinker. His areas of interest are really wonderful. His interests are in theatre, reading, particularly history and biographies. His interests are into media. He has a special interest in wildlife and adventure. It's very heartening to know that he has fought for various constitutional rights, civil liberties, including freedom of press and expression. What I really liked is that he is a member of AIC Committee for Future Challenges and Opportunities. And I'm sure, sir, we are really, all of us are having full confidence in your capabilities to face the future challenges and grab the future opportunities. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. I request you to please give your blessings.
Good morning to everyone here. Very distinguished faces gathered, and I consider it a great privilege to be addressing you on the inauguration of the Corporate Knowledge Foundation. Undoubtedly amongst important steps that are being taken in our country, particularly in the field of private enterprise, where the citizens expressing themselves through various fora are trying to expand the area of knowledge and national endeavor. And if you join the ranks of such important steps, indeed is something that we should be extremely proud of. And please do accept my warmest congratulations. I'm especially pleased and happy and privileged that Mr. Anurag Goel, that I had the opportunity to work with, but alas, for a very brief while, despite my best persuasion, he left for higher challenges, greater opportunities in the field of competition. We have, of course, Mr. Madan, who, I think with so much foresight, have gathered all of you here for this very important step. Mr. Pawan Kumar Vijay will explain the roadmap to us, and of course, Mr. Agrawal, distinguished friends. It's a happy occasion, and therefore all it takes and requires is warm congratulations for something that you're doing by focusing your energies, your knowledge, your experience in the professional fields, largely different aspects of corporate governance that you're all familiar with: finance, accountancy, management, marketing, bookkeeping, the large areas of endeavor that go into the idea of a good company. I was for a while in corporate affairs, and I often spoke to people and said that the most important factor for me of a company, and the company of course comes in the form of the companies as you know them, private limited companies, public companies, also limited liability partnerships, a little bit like a company, a hybrid of a company and a partnership. And then of course there is the cooperative sector where people pitch in and participate in the wealth creation and then distribution of wealth to themselves. The producer company is something that we still need to develop much more in our country, bring in the Indian farmers and producers from land to become part of the larger landscape of the growth story of our country. And I felt that was the best way of describing Indian democracy. A company is indeed a democratic model which on a larger scale is the political democracy. The shareholder in a company is like a stakeholder or a voter in the political economy of our country. And therefore a company allows not only to hone and fine-tune what you need for a good, effective working democracy, both in terms of representation as well as in terms of participation, both in terms of what you give to society
and indeed what you can legitimately expect from society, how decisions are taken, how checks and balances have to be built in, elements of corporate governance that we have seen and heard of a great deal in the last few years. But today, as we stand here to congratulate you for the establishment of Corporate Knowledge Foundation, I think what we are faced with is a larger challenge in perspective. And the challenge is, can we really allow a more effective exchange of attitudes and perceptions between corporate India and political India? Where will corporate India influence political India, and where will political India influence corporate India? Sandeep Dixit made some very, very telling observations, and I want to take it up from there because it is a very serious concern. Only a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago, we came to government when the mood in the country was the mood to conquer the world. We took very seriously what the world said about us. We genuinely believed in the 21st century being the century of Asia, and in Asia that India was going to be the giant striding in a unique manner which went far beyond what the Chinese system offered to its own people. We were proud both of an ancient heritage in which there were roots of our modern democracy. We were indeed very, very enthused by how Indian democracy had matured, and in very little time, not only had we made Indian democracy a role model for many of the emerging democracies of the world, but that we also had become a role model for economic growth and development with equity. We were really proud of the period that we went through global recession, and when people were struggling with 1% and 2% and zero growth, we had 8% growth. And we congratulated ourselves for having actually arrived with a paradigm shift into a new age, and that India was to be the country of tomorrow. India was to be a most favored destination. And we saw not only people of Indian origin returning home to establish both businesses and participate in professional endeavor, but we also found huge investments beginning to come into India. And it was difficult for those of us who had been through agonizing times when we couldn't ascertain whether the Indian cricket team would be able to travel abroad, whether the team abroad, the MCC team would come to India, and the most operative and the most important concern there was whether India would have foreign exchange to pay for those teams coming or going. In many years, we were disappointed because India lost out on playing with some of the best teams in the world. From there to a situation of plenty. India, as I said, was suddenly destination both for investment as well as for people looking for the best experiences of their life. How in a year or two things could have changed so dramatically that we carry, each one of us today carries a question mark about the future of our society, ourselves and our country. That our institutions, Parliament, is suddenly being challenged by people in the streets. That people in the streets are beginning to wonder whether the spiral of prices is ever going to be reversed, whether when you sit down to do an analysis of manufacturing figures, of the GDP, of the growth rates of every quarter, you begin to look worried. That is that story of plenty over? Is the time of India reaching for the skies over? Is India going to return back once again to the modest situation that it was accustomed to for many years, the so-called Hindu growth rate of 2%, 3%? Is that what we are going in for? Are we going to have to roll back some of the most ambitious programs of the world? The Mahatma Gandhi Rural Guarantee Yojana, Job Guarantee Yojana, the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, the midday meal, the cashless insurance for people living under the BPL line, the 41% of our population being assured of subsidized food. And suddenly, there's a huge question mark. And what I want to say to you is, please reflect and please search your hearts. And certainly, as you endeavor to develop a detailed roadmap for the Corporate Knowledge Foundation, think of how we can turn the mood again. What will it take to turn the mood again in this country, to have faith in ourselves once again? Every country, America after the Vietnam War, Europe after the Second World War, every country in the world has been through traumatic periods. We have been through our traumatic periods as well, and we've come out always with greater determination and strength. And therefore I believe time has come for us to ask ourselves, how long will it take before we stand out once again to be counted tall, to say we will handle with determination all the challenges that today are facing us. I believe that the intrinsic strength of India will not allow us to falter. I believe the intrinsic faith that we have in ourselves will persuade us to stand again and walk, not just walk, but run. But fundamental questions will have to be answered. I think we had it too easy. I think success sometimes when it comes easy doesn't allow you to train yourself better for more difficult times. And I think we have to ask ourselves some fundamental questions. We have to ask ourselves fundamental questions about what the role of every one of us institutionally and individually is towards building a beautiful new society. We must have faith that society will come about. We must have a conviction that our children will be handed the torch for a better India than the one that we have lived in, that we will carry forth to our children the dreams that our ancestors and our forefathers gave to us. And as we give them with those dreams the wherewithal and the resources with which they can take those dreams forward. I believe that wherever we look for salvation, wherever we look for resurgence, wherever we look for fresh determination and sankalp, it has to be nurtured in the soil of knowledge. This is the age of knowledge. India is to be a knowledge hub. We have an ancient knowledge civilizational link, and therefore we will be doing great injustice to ourselves, our history, our heritage, and certainly our succeeding generations if we do not take knowledge as to be the beacon light of the years to come. I'm sure that we will. We have a knowledge commission. We have treated knowledge as being the cutting edge of our human endeavor, and I believe in that commitment and in that endeavor, the Corporate Knowledge Foundation will, in its own niche, in its own area, in its own spectrum, provide outstanding work. The faces that I see here are faces that have already proved many times over that
commitment not to us, commitment to the society, commitment to the country. Sir, we are sure that with the personalities like you being at the glory, we'll soon have 10% plus growth, and the flag of this country will fly high throughout the world. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Now I request Mr. R.K. Agarwal to please give the vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Guest, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Sir, right since inception of corporate professionals, the consultant firm which was established in 2004, myself, Pawan and Dr. Sanjay Agrawal, we had a long cherished desire to start a forum where we can share the knowledge, where we can nurture the knowledge, where we could develop the knowledge till we could find Mr. G.P. Madan, who is the real person who gets associated with us from last 3 months that now we have been able to fulfill our dream, and today we are very happy that we have been able to launch this foundation, Corporate Knowledge Foundation, the objective for which we were having the desire from last 6-7 years. Friends, we want to create now a pool of the talented professionals, members, maybe around 200-250, where we can have intense discussion, interactive discussion, practical-oriented discussion on various laws, development in the corporate sector, and various things which are related to the development and growth of the corporate economy and the country. And we hope that with the association now, with all the members of the advisory board which has been created, and we are very happy that such huge talent of the corporate world has given us their blessings, and we would be able to achieve our objective with their participation, with their motivation, with their association with all of us. Apart from the discussion, the far vision which we have in this foundation, which Pawan also narrated, that is to create a research center and to create a corporate training center of world class, where we can have some kind of research on different projects and some kind of training of specialized focused knowledge related to the professionals. We will keep on interacting with the policymakers, with the regulators. We will keep on inviting them, and today we are very happy that Mr. Salman Khurshid, who has become a very significant minister during last couple of months in the government, and really we seek his blessings and we seek his motivation in our future endeavor. And Shri Anurag Goyalji, they are with us. We are very thankful to you, sir. Then we have the advisory board members, and we are very happy. At least 50% of the strength of our advisory board are present here to bless us. We are very, very thankful to all of you, sir. With this, I once again thank all of you, all the participants, media persons, and all of you. Thank you very much. Now may I request to Ms. Geeta Pawan to kindly come and present a memento to our chief guest, Shri Salman Khurshid ji. To kindly come and present the memento as a token of love and affection and respect to Shri Anurag Goyalji. And before I invite all of you to Haiti, may I request to kindly stand for national anthem.
Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would request you to attend the high tea that will be starting now, and would also like to inform you of our next program, that is of the National Convention of New Takeover Regulations, that shall be starting in half an hour. Thank you.
यहीं पर है ना Morning, how are you? How are you? So, but I got one of the guys. I saw you at Mission the 11th country club. Oh gosh. Can you won finally the match? Thank you, my God. Okay. Mistake, they sent it to DOT to send it to you. So we called it back. I called it back and I said, no, we. No, we have, but the point is this must not be a central because municipal, all the municipal related with state government. That's the problem. No, I don't think that there is a centralized. Local. No, they have. All states have. When the Municipal Administration Acts, they all have provision for defacing, not defacing, etc. But it's all a local act. We can write to it. I can take it. My ministry won't be able to do anything on this. This is actually urban development is what we need. I will send it to urban development because my ministry is only a ministry that responds to lawmaking in response to a requirement to other ministries. I have to go. I have a 12 o'clock meeting. That's the problem. You give me any paper, I'll send it to urban development. How do I send you a paper? Send it to my ministry. Just send it. I will pass it on to urban affairs. She requested to do something about it. They cannot do legislative. No, I have what you want to give something. No, I'll keep it. Not Don't you actually go through various processes and then come to the cabinet. So I think the final shape has been given and it should come to the cabinet soon.
But I'm coming. I'm coming. So I'm coming.